Hello, folks. This is Reza Rahman. This is our series of videos on some key Java EE 2014 sessions and speakers. Today, I have with me David Blevins. I've known David for quite a few years. He's been instrumental to the Java EE ecosystem for a number of years. He used to be a part of the OpenEJB project, which is still very much alive and kicking. He was a key contributor in OpenWebBeans, Geronimo as well. He's been contributing to the Java EE specification for a long period of time, and that's principally where we know each other from. Most recently, he's founded a very interesting project called TomEE and his own company named TomEE. We're very honored to have him speak at JavaOne. He's an excellent speaker and a blogger as well. Okay, so first and foremost, David, thank you very much for joining us today. Hopefully all's well on your end.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, so very good, thank you. I guess the first question I want to really ask you is, tell us a bit more about your sessions at JavaOne 2014, and what do you expect to sort of deliver there?
Yeah, well, this year, I submitted a different talk that I normally give. So of course, I'm giving a TomEE talk. As I usually do, and that's been very well received. And it's sort of an interesting phenomena happened giving that talk over the last 2 years or so. Is I eventually started to work in this one slide that was things you may have missed, and it was intended to kind of catch people up on what has happened in Java EE since they last looked, because of course a lot of the people that attend, TomEE talks are Tomcat fans, and simply haven't been aware of a lot of changes, since basically 2006 or the EE 1.4 days, And this one slide turns into a 15-20-minute section of the presentation, so I decided to make a whole talk out of it. And so this talk is titled Java EE Game Changers, and the goal of that talk is really kind of threefold. It's one, to catch people up to speed, but it's also to show people that things can change, and then the most important part, that they can be part of that change. That participating in the specifications is an option, and you can put your fingerprint on Java EE, and it's it's a neat thing, and so the whole talk is basically kind of starts and takes a look at what's changed, takes a look at where we are, and then shows talks about where we could go. So it's sort of a a Dickens Ghost of Christmas Past, Christmas Present, Christmas Future kind of a talk. So I'm really looking forward to that one personally. I think it's going to be pretty great. Then another talk that we're doing is a Java EE 8 panel. We have that every year, and last year was incredible fun. It was the last day of the conference, and we had a full house, and there was myself, Cameron Purdy, Emmanuel Bernard from Red Hat, and Antonio Goncalves, and so it was Pivotal was there, and IBM, of course, and people asked some really great questions. Hard-hitting questions. It was almost like they had saved up every question they had had throughout the whole conference and didn't get answered in any of the presentations they saw, and then asked it at the last day, at the last panel. It was such a wonderful finale. So I'm really looking forward to that talk. I hope it's every bit of as explosive as it was last year. And it was it was a lot of fun for everybody, speakers included.
Okay, excellent. So I think it's helpful for you to actually talk a little bit about TomEE and TomEE. And I guess as a follow-on to that, I'd like to ask you, how do you think things are going with TomEE, and I guess Java EE generally from your standpoint?
Yeah, I think it's it's going great. And so for those who aren't necessarily familiar with TomEE, perhaps, it's Tomcat entered into the Java EE world finally. And so for the number of years, you'd go on the mailing list and say, oh, can I use EJBs? Can I use this, that? And of course, you get a very loud, resounding no. No, you can't. That's not what we do. And so the fact that now Tomcat is in the realm of EE certified servers is big. And so people are responding very well to it. And I think there's when we go around and we promote it to people, there's always some skepticism, thinking, "Oh, this can't really be the Tomcat." They're like, "You must have done something to ruin it in some way." And once they try it out, it's always this sort of, "Wow, really? That's it? This works?" And so we're getting some really enthusiastic people using it, and people making pretty big changes in their organization to accommodate it. Which is pretty fantastic, And on the TomEE Tribe side of things, I think that we're just we're a young, excited company, and I think all the relationships we have really feature that heavily, and people are always really happy to do business with a young open source company that caters to them completely. And in terms of the people who have been working on TomEE for the last several years, this is a dream come true for us. There's nothing we've wanted more than to work together under the same roof for the longest time, and so now we can, and it's kind of fairy tale scenario. So knock on wood, we're just really happy.
Excellent. So let me throw you a bit of a curveball here, David.
Sure.
I know TomEE at the moment is EE6 web profile certified, and of course you have a bit more than the web profile, I know.
Yeah.
But what are your plans with regards to EE7?
Yeah. So we just switched Trunk over to TomEE 2.0, and EE7 work has started there. It's going pretty well for the very short time that we've had it going. So all the Apache projects have been working on their portions of the EE7 bits, right? So CXF is pretty much finished. Tomcat obviously is done. That's Tomcat 8. And so like just last week, or rather maybe it was Tuesday, time's going so fast, we have CXF 3.0 and Tomcat 8 going in TomEE 2.0 in the trunk. And so things are going pretty well in that regard. One of the projects that was looking like it might not make it was ActiveMQ, which hadn't even started JMS 2.0. But there's some potential that Hornet MQ might actually get donated to Apache and get merged in with ActiveMQ. So that would be a pretty exciting development for the industry, I think, and that'll certainly help out our TomEE EE7 efforts. So knock on wood, we can see some preliminary releases of it, maybe in beta form, in the not too distant future.
Excellent. Going back to the EE8 panel, what are you looking to, I guess, get done in EE8 yourself, and what has been your general impression of the EE8 efforts so far?
Yeah, well, actually, looks good. I mean, we've done on the EE level, we've done surveys of people before and to get their feedback. And we had a lot more people, as you know, respond to the EE8 surveys. And so it's really fantastic to see the engagement. And I really like what's on people's radar. And in terms of what's on my radar, we have a lot of things that we started in EE7 and in even far back as EE6. Of course, some of my big ticket items have always been more embeddability in Java EE in general. So we added that in EJB 3.1, and we tried to get some more in Java EE 7 in general. But I think now it's kind of reached a point where a lot of people are just saying this has got to happen. And perhaps the configuration API that will go into EE8 could help with that significantly. So I have some really high hopes that we'll see some more control of public static void main in EE8. As well, we did some really big revamps of how the connector MDB relationship works and most people don't even know what that is, which is a big sign of how it needed to be revamped. And what it's going to allow us is to do some really cool stuff with, say, having annotation-driven consumers of, say, message like JMS message-driven being. So, at topic, at header param from the JMS message. So basically, imagine a JAX-RS style annotation API for consuming JMS messages, where you can pull parameters out of the headers, and you can get the objects marshaled and passed in as objects rather than a message. And so it's going to open up a lot of really neat characteristics. I hope that there's a certain before and after kind of feeling to JMS, sort of like, you REST, the JAX-RS API is pretty much better than the servlet API in a lot of regards. Even if you were just doing web pages, you could use the JAX-RS API because it's far more expressive for doing the same thing than that one big do-get method that you get with a servlet. And so I hope we can do the same thing for consuming JMS topics. Instead of having one big on message, you could have like a dozen that consume messages, data from different topics, different queues, all in one being, and save people a lot of time with the standard plumbing they have to do. And then, of course, I really hope that we can get some more alignment between CDI and EJB. We have two component models that are very similar that need to be closer in step. A lot of things that we do in EJB really do apply and could apply to CDI. There's also a bigger item on that bucket, and something that I don't know if it's necessarily strictly on the radar, but with CDI extensions, you can add any number of CDI beans. But you can't add other EE componentry. You can't add a servlet. You can't add an EJB. You can't add a JSF managed bean. So the things that you can dynamically and programmatically add in CDI stop at CDI. It would be really neat if we could consider, if there's time, adding ability for more components to be added via at startup time via the CDI extensions. I would be really, really keen to see that kind of thing happen.
Okay.
So those are some pretty big items on my list. I have a bunch more, of course, but in the interest of time.
All right, very good, thank you. I guess I have to ask David, besides your sessions, what else are you looking forward to accomplishing at JavaOne? Any particular interesting sessions, topics, anything that you're planning to do?
Of course, I'm always looking forward to the language talks. I particularly enjoy those quite a bit. I'm really looking forward to checking out the Internet of Things track this year. That's a pretty interesting addition. That sounds fun. I know that there's one particular talk that Stefan Jansen's had approved about his experience using a Raspberry Pi to make a scoreboard for a basketball game and using EE technologies to get that accomplished. That's going to be a pretty fun session to check out. I recommend people looking at that. I also think that I look forward to the same thing at JavaOne every year, which is connecting with people. And it's a really interesting thing that happens when you get a bunch of geeks together, and they all from all different parts of the world. And I know, like 2 years ago, I ran into somebody at the lobby at the JavaOne conference hotel, it's the Hilton, and we just started talking. And he was like, "Oh, this is my first JavaOne. Oh, that's really cool. Welcome. I'm having a good time." It was the last day of the conference. We ended up going out to dinner. We stayed in contact, and he had never presented anywhere. He'd never written any articles, and now he's giving 3 talks at JavaOne this year. And I just think that that is the most awesome thing that ever could possibly happen. I want people to go to JavaOne and know that those people they see on stage, that could be them. And the only thing holding them back is themselves. So just go for it. Get inspired at JavaOne. Do something cool. Take that inspiration and use it to some good ends. That would be what I look forward to, connecting with people, hopefully inspires some people, and hopefully see some of those people up on stage speaking at future JavaOnes.
All right, excellent, David. Thank you very much again for your time. Honored to have you, and hopefully we'll meet up at JavaOne, if not earlier.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Reza.
All right, excellent.